seen so far from the QBs? What do you like?
Yeah, I like the command that really all of them have right now after 2 days of being in the offense and, having a chance to go out there and practice and compete and actually get a chance to do it against somebody else other than a walkthrough. So, the command's been really good by every one of the guys so far. Really excited where they're at and their development.
Coach Summer was talking about having the mock practice before spring camp open. How much do you think that just helped with guys knowing where to be, what to expect? I know it's just been 2 days, but how much do you think that helped?
Oh, that's huge, right? Anytime you get a dry run of what you're going to do, especially with the pace that we're going to practice at, the intensity that we're going to practice at, all the different drills and all the different indie periods that we're going to do, because we believe in individual, right, and developing the players. So we're going to do a bunch of that, and it's crucial that they know where to go so we can get to what matters the most.
Are your expectations different for maybe a guy like Tremel, who's having to learn a new system, than with Aaron Philo, or do you coach him the exact same?
Yeah, no, we coach everybody the exact same, right? Like, we want to go full bore, throw it all at them, and eventually we'll coach around whoever that guy is, his strengths. That's just what I believe in. But we didn't hold anything back. Same thing with the freshmen. The good thing with all these guys, like, I get it, Philo, was in the terminology a little bit last year, but there's been a lot change, right? He's a different quarterback than the guy that we coached a year ago. So all the quarterbacks, all the offense, whether they're freshman, senior, junior, transfer, they've all really got the same install from the beginning. Really, nobody's ahead of anybody. The tech guys obviously have an understanding of the terminology, but there's still a lot more. You evolve and you add and mix. We got a great staff and we get great ideas and we can do things, different ways. So everybody got ground up, so it's been really good so far.
What are your early impressions of Trel Jones, just what you've seen from him this week?
Yeah, got a great kid, number one, and that's where it starts. Got some toughness, got some leadership ability. Been a guy that's been here, spent a lot of extra time, with obviously Coach Craddock, spending time with him, and then we've got A.J. Erdley and then Steve Spurrier. So we've got three guys around those guys, so we can make sure that the most important, position in all of football is getting developed and getting coached at all times. If Coach Craddock and I are in a meeting, then one of those two guys can take them and slow practice down for them as they're watching it or whatever it may be. So it's the most important position in football, and we're going to do a great job at developing that position.
Does that free you up to be able to go look at every single position group with having three guys that you trust who are able to watch the quarterbacks? Are you able to then go to the tight ends and running backs and provide instruction there as well?
Absolutely. We've got, like I said, I think we've got one of the best staffs in all of college football. We've got, Coach Craddock's been a coordinator. Trent McKnight's been a coordinator. There's other guys that are younger guys that have been with me that have been coordinators and are going to be coordinators. And, eventually they'll all end up being head coaches. So we got a great staff. I'll let them coach their position. And then, it's one thing that I believe in is depth in the staff as well, right? So our job is to develop these players. We got a job to do for them. So how do we do that? We have a really good staff and a really deep staff. So when we are in meetings, say Coach Craddock and I are in there, eventually we get to where we're game planning and, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and one of the guys want to come up and watch 30 minutes of film, and they can go with somebody else, right? And that's really at every position. So, we're three deep really at every spot on the staff, and it's been a joy to be around these guys for the last 3 months.
Eric Singleton, the guy you coached 2 years ago, still the same player you remember? How has he even maybe changed in 2 years now?
Yeah, one thing about Eric is he's an explosive, fast guy. He was always one of the smartest football players that I've ever been around. He came in as a true freshman, got there in June when we had a chance to coach him a few years back, and he learned the offense, and this is not an easy offense to learn as far as terminology goes and all the different, positions that you got to be able to play. And, it's like he never left. I don't think he's had an MA yet. So glad to see him back out there. We just got to continue to get better with him and develop him just like we got to develop the rest of them.
Why is it not an easy offense to learn? Is it verbiage? Is it just long plays?
Yeah, it's an NFL terminology-based offense, and we want that, right? Like I said a few minutes ago, our job is to, not only to win football games, but it's also to develop these kids and be ready to play at the next level. And if you come to this place, like, you have goals and dreams of playing there. So when they walk into an NFL camp, we want them to be able to be comfortable with terminology. So it's a lot of the same stuff that you'll hear at the next level. And then we'll dumb it down and make sure that they know exactly what we're trying to do.
With so much newness and teaching going on right now, like, what does a good spring camp look like to you, and, after you're done in a month?
I think the biggest thing that we want to come out of, the biggest thing we want to come out of spring ball is we want to have an identity, right? We want to be able to be the toughest, most physical football team on Saturday afternoons. That's how football's won. We want to be able to throw and catch at a high level, and we want to be able to run the football when everybody knows in the stadium we got to run it. So, those are big things, but number one would be having an identity and kind of be able to shape this thing where we want it to go this summer.
Coach, we talked before about your affinity for Coach Spurrier
Yeah.
growing up. When you've worn a visor before, I assume that's because of Malzahn and Spurrier, but is it different when you put on the Gator visor? For the
I
first
put a
one?
visor on because I got an egghead and I can't wear a hat. So that's the real reason. So, no, but just when I was younger, his energy and passion, when he was on the sideline throwing his visor, I always remember that. So, and then my college coach had one on, and it really just came down to I don't wear hats.
At the end of the day, when you do decide on a quarterback, what do you think, we're kind of projecting ahead, but what do you think they would have shown you this spring and fall, and what are kind of the factors that will really go into that decision?
Yeah, I mean, just being able to lead the team down the field and score points, that's what it's all about, right? So we're a long way from that, but it's just like every other position. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback, and I get it. Like, you're not going to get a different answer from me between now and really probably for a couple weeks outside the first game. But we're competing at every position, right? We want to develop the entire roster. We got a long way to go to get to where we want to go. But I'll say this: I really like the kids. Like, I think we got a chance.
What stands out to you about Vernell Brown III? What's he done?
Oh,
so
number
far for
one,
you?
that's a great question, right? Like, but obviously you guys see what happens on the field on Saturday afternoons or in practice, but that guy spends more time than any receiver I've ever been around. I've coached, I don't know, maybe 18, 19 years in the building. Okay, he's a natural-born leader. He's not afraid to step out front, lead the guys. He knows the offense right now probably as good as any of the new coaches. So he's a joy to be around, and I like the fact that he puts in the work, right? He's truly about it. And when you get a bunch of guys like that doing that, you got a chance.
What's it been like having one-on-one meetings with him and just seeing his football knowledge in that setting when you're trying to break down your system to him?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him is you better be on your P's and Q's as a coach because he knows it as good as those guys, and he's going to ask questions. And sometimes I think he asks questions that he may already know the answer to just to make sure you said the same thing. So I kind of like it. But no, he's been great to be around, and we've got a lot of guys that have been that way. It's not just him, but a lot of times when you've had the success that he's had in such a short time, you don't keep the main thing, and that kid keeps the main thing. He's here to get an education. He goes to his class, he does what he's supposed to do, and he shows up on time every day ready to work and puts in extra work. So guys like him are going to be successful whatever they do in life.
And as a coordinator, what do you enjoy about sitting down with the guys one-on-one and just having them learn in that setting, and how many guys have you done that with?
Yeah, a lot of them. The good thing about the way that this, coaches got it structured, and I was a part of this in the past, is I'm able to kind of be around all the guys, right? And my job is to coach the offense. So I get 20 minutes with the offense. They get 40 minutes a position meeting. So, messaging is big and trying to bring it all together, right? I think that's the most important thing is being able to just mesh the whole thing. And so with the position that I'm in, that's the way it's able to work, and it's really good. It kind of allows you to see everything.
How's Dallas Wilson attacking, not being able to be out there, and how is he staying involved, making sure that he's learning terminology, even though he just can't be in practice? Right
Yeah,
now?
He's in every meeting. He's in all walkthroughs. He does everything. He's another one that's a joy to be around. Loves football. I think he's disappointed that he can't go through, the first couple weeks. But the way things are structured now, spring football, you got spring ball, then you got all summer with them, and then you obviously got summer camp. So there's plenty of time to get caught up on that part. We'll get him a bunch of mental reps. Still catch footballs when he can. But the biggest thing with him is when he does get back, we want it to be over. So we're in no hurry to get him out there. And eventually, hopefully we'll be able to see him this spring. But if not, that's okay. We got plenty of time. And he's a kid that'll put in the work to be ready to play.
Involving wide receivers in the run game, what kind of weapon can that be, and what do they have to show you that they can kind of handle that?
Speed. We want fast guys that are, good with ball in their hands. You don't need a bunch of them, but you just like to have a couple of those guys. Eric Singleton's been a guy in the past. T.J. Abrams looks like he could do it. VB3 looks like he could do it. Bailey Stockton can do it. Just right off the top of my head, those kind of body types, right? So to just add speed to the edge, good vision, punt returner type players, that's kind of what we're looking for. And we love those guys. Those guys are hard to tackle. They don't have the biggest surface area to hit, and they're all quick and twitchy. So that's a big part of what we'll hopefully be able to do down the road.
Does it surprise you that Vernell never lost a gauntlet workout?
Not with the way he works. He had some good battles with, Jaden Woods. Him and Bailey Stockton had a couple good battles. But it was fun to watch. The Gauntlet was a really good thing for us. It's one of the more mental taxing exercises I've ever been a part of. I think it's one of the best things I've seen since I've been in college football.
And then I saw you showing off your arm in the IPF today. What's it been like working with Jaden this week?
Yeah, during certain periods of practice, that goes back to what kind of some of the questions that have came up is, being the coordinator, I don't have to worry about going to coach the quarterback. So anybody that's not on a special team, I get to spend time with him. And or in that case this week, it's been him because of the special teams that have been in. But what that allows is me to be able to work some things that I see maybe using him down the road. It allows to, I think we can broaden his skill set, use him more in the passing game. And those are just invaluable reps that we can go over there, work on, talk about, kind of slow it down during those 12 minutes that we got of special teams. We do a great job here. Coach Summerall, obviously, it's his schedule, but, we got a lot of special team time here. So I'm going to get a lot of time with a lot of guys, and I like it.
What stands out about Micah Mays?
Micah Mays, great questions. He's been a guy that's came in, obviously played at Wake Forest, had a really good season last year. Tough kid, extremely smart. He's a guy that we feel that can add a lot of versatility to our offense. He can play multiple positions. He picked it up really quick. And the reason he was able to pick it up is he was in a very similar, terminology, based offense from a formation standpoint. So it's been really quick transition for him. We're excited for him. He has flashed the last couple of days. And, so far the biggest thing with him is he's shown is the versatility and the toughness that we're looking for.
Your first time being around the Gauntlet, seeing guys go through it, how much do you think that it just helped improve from a physical standpoint, but also a mental toughness standpoint, maybe in comparison to, I'm not trying to have you rip any previous strength programs you've been around, but just how does it compare to the ones you've been around in your career?
Yeah, I've been around some really good ones, a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ways to do things. Been very fortunate. I think that's where you win and lose a lot of football games is in the strength department, because it does build the toughness and, more importantly, the mental toughness. I would say, to answer your question, the Gauntlet is a more mental toughness thing than anything I've ever been around. The accountability is at an all-time high. You also are competing, right, and we're keeping up with wins and losses on every rep. You're not just doing, the wins and losses. It's also like detailed within how it's being done. And if that's not being done, the entire group's held accountable right then and there. And then it's the fact that you're actually going against something. You actually have to beat the Gauntlet to move on. So that's the best thing that I like about it. And, I think it ended up being 9. We missed maybe, some walkthrough time because of it, but there's nothing more important than what we did in the off season. And then the same thing, once spring ball's over, there's nothing more important that's going to be is continuing to develop, being in the weight room. Coach Witt does a amazing job. He's got a great mentality. He's great with the guys, demands a lot of respect. It's, anywhere you go, I've been around a lot of really good ones, but I'm excited about learning from him.
What are your early impressions of the offensive line and just the options that you got to work with?
Yeah, the one thing we do have is we've got a lot of bodies. We've got a lot of big bodies. We were able to add some freshmen. We were able to add some transfers. The one thing is we're looking for the best 5 up front. I saw a drastic improvement from day 1 to day 2 as far as the intensity level goes, the attention to detail, right? The best thing about that is I thought they were able to take meetings, the corrections, and then you came out and you saw it today, right? And Coach Phil does an amazing job with the way he goes about teaching. I've only been around him a short time, but just a great teacher, a developer. You can just see it, feel it, and talk to the guys, and you see the guys. And it really showed up between day one and day two. Now, does that mean is that where we need to be? No, right? We still got a long way to go, and we got to find those, the right combination of guys. But there was a big improvement today. Liked what I saw.
An important part of practice. How much of that is a precursor to how you guys want to play on game day offensively?
Yeah, one thing that we're going to do is like I've said, we're going to throw a bunch at them. Okay, we're going to find out who we are, develop, what our identity is going to be, and it could morph into that, right? But I always tell the guys, I want to be able to win games any way, shape, or form, right? Situational football is going to be very important when we get to that. Some games we're going to have to play fast. Some games we may have to run the ball and slow the game down, right? A lot of things, a lot of factors go into winning football games, and we're going to put a lot on them this spring, and I want to be able to beat people, opponents, any way, shape, or form.
How unique of an athlete is Hezi Kent?
Great question. I had a chance to recruit Hezi for a long time at the last place. He is extremely skilled for his size. Right, he's very fluid, got as good a ball skills as anybody we got on the team, right? I think we all know that, he's a big boy, and we got to continue to develop him and the off season and the season and getting him down to where he can go out and have a chance to compete is probably the best way to say it.
To the offensive line, what's the sense of the positional flexibility you guys have there so you could have more options for each of those 5 spots?
I love flexibility at all positions, right? That always allows you to be a deeper football team. If I got a tackle that can play guard, now I'm good in 2 spots. No different than if I got an outside receiver that can play inside, or an inside receiver that can play outside, or a running back that can bump out and play. So that's very important. We do have a lot of flexibility, I believe, up front with some guys that can play center and play guard, and I believe we have some guys that can play tackle. That can play guard. So we're going to continue to go through this process and work and move guys around and see where we can find the best 5 guys.
Going back to Hezi Kent, obviously he's trying to lose weight, but how can you kind of use that size to your advantage at the position in your offense?
Yeah, the biggest thing is he's already his surface area is he can block you just by the way he was born. I mean, he's open by birth. He can block you by birth, but we got to get that down where he can play a bunch of snaps for us. And he's a long way away. But he has been one that's improved every day over the last month, right? And look, he should be, playing basketball right now in the playoffs at Brunswick High School. But, those guys get here early. A lot of times when they get here, it's a shock to them. And I think it was a shock to him, but he's a willing learner, and we just got to continue to work with him and continue to develop him and continue to grow him as a person as well.
How have you seen Amir Jackson translate to this offense, and what kind of strides has he made?
Yeah, Amir was another kid that I remember from Portal High School, was a great athlete. He's still a great athlete. He's getting better. The want-to's there. Coach McKissick probably, he'll get him ready to play. But he'll do whatever it takes to get him ready to play. And I think he's got a unique skill set because he's got some speed. We've just got to continue to develop at that position, right? Because he was a guy that, like I said, was all over the place in high school, and he's still coming into his own, but excited about where he's at right now.